Dylan, are you asking when someone approaches me saying, hey, I'm making a game, specifically, I'm making an MMORPG game? Okay. The reason I have questions for this is because companies making MMORPG games need a massive amount of money. The reason they need a massive amount of money is that MMORPGs are complicated to make, and even if you do aim at making a slightly smaller game that is within kind of the scale and the scope of the team and the money that you've got, it's not going to be massive. It is very much going to be a small passion project. And if you want to make a small passion project, more power to you, go for it. Unfortunately, the MMORPG player base don't tend to support small passion projects. They want to support massive, huge, big games that they're going to be able to sink hundreds or thousands of hours into. So the small passion project focus doesn't really scratch that itch. So when people say, I'm making an MMORPG, the first question I ask is, have you made a game before? And the vast majority of people say, no. Then I say, do you have a lot of funding behind you? And they say, no. And I say, well, what do you have? And they say, well, I have an idea. I'm like, okay, cool. Everyone has an idea. Everyone is the ideas guy in any kind of creative industry. What do you have? Do you have a load of money behind you? Do you have a server infrastructure? Do you have a unique amount of developers? Do you have a franchise? Do you have a backup plan if this doesn't work? Do you have any kind of body of work that we can look at before that's going to give you good standing within the industry? Because if you don't have hope, if you just have hopes and dreams, I don't want to be involved in them. Step one to making $1 million with an MMORPG is to start with 10 million. If you want to just idea max, that's fine, but I've got a limited amount of time in my day, and unfortunately, as great as it would be for some people's ego, I don't want to spend the limited time that I've got waxing poetical with people about their ideal MMORPG that they're never going to make. So whenever I ask business questions, I expect business answers. When someone comes to me and says, we have got this, 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 and this, we're already working with this, 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 and this, we've connected to this, we've created this, we've got this as a structure, this is the idea, here's a design document, here's all the money, here's the company idea, could you please consult on this? Yep, not a problem at all, I can do some consultation. But when someone says, I've got an idea for an MMORPG, do you want to hear it? Honestly, no. Because I get that message roughly once a week. And the answer is always the same. It's going to be a full loot PvP MMORPG with a player-created and player-supported economy and AI-generated quests, and it's going to be all this, that, and the other. That's what it's going to be. And the reason that I tend to ask these questions straight away and be quite harsh is that if the questions don't stand up to my harsh kind of critique, there's no way they're going to stand up to an audience. Do not ask me to help make your MMORPG. Make it, and then ask me to play it. So the question would straight away be, how much money do you have behind you? I mean, we can do these questions right now. You don't need to tell me the exact numbers, and you don't need to tell me the sources the money is coming from. Just give me a general kind of ballpark figure. Because anything under $1 million is straight away going to be a no for an MMORPG. Have you made a game before? Do you have a franchise? You have an AI-generated funding streams? Well, it's a no from me. Because if you can't be bothered to create something, then you're definitely not going to make it when it comes to an MMORPG. See, the weird thing is, if you'd have just said, I have funding streams, I'd have probably been like, okay, cool, interesting. As soon as you say, I have AI-generated funding streams, then the question is, okay, so you do have to understand that the general public are going to hate this. I've had to explain to companies before, AI is going to be used in a lot of stuff. That is, unfortunately, inevitable. However, consider this. Normally, on any balanced system, there will be people that love it, people that hate it, and people that do not care. You have the extremes of support either way. I love this, I hate this. And then you have the vast majority of people that do not care. Now, the reason that these systems are normally self-sustaining is the people that hate it will avoid systems that involve it on principle. And the people that love it will buy systems that involve it in principle. So you have, AI is a bad example of this right now because I need you to understand the foundation. If you create something and you say, the thing I've created contains this, whether this is a system, a project, an ideology, a philosophy, a political structure, a certain gameplay mechanic, an artist, if you say it contains this, you will get people Strignos says, your anti-AI rant is stupid. AI can improve games with replayability and content. The ones against AI are the vocal, ignorant minority. Strignos, just give me some time, okay? When you say to someone, it contains this, people that love it will buy it because it contains that. People that hate it will avoid it because it contains that. And the people in the middle will either buy it or not buy it based on other factors. Here's the problem with AI. People that hate AI will avoid projects and products that have it in out of principle. People that love it will not buy the things just because it has it in. They will like it, they will support the idea, they will support the product, they will support the whole thing, you know, in theory, but what they won't do is actually go and spend money to buy it. And we see this with ideologies as well. We see this with ideologies like Dustborn. There is a game called Dustborn. Dustborn is not the worst game ever made. It's not the best game ever made. It just is. It was very much marketed as containing a certain ideology. And people that hate the ideology didn't buy Dustborn, as the developers knew. But people that loved the ideology, this is where it fell down, did not go out to buy Dustborn. This is what I have to explain to companies that use AI. You are risking alienating a large portion of your audience that will not, in an equal and opposite way, be replaced by people that buy something just because AI is in it. How many AI bros out there do you think go and purchase something just because AI is involved in its creation? Numbers show not that many. Because as soon as AI is involved in that creation, that AI bro wants to do that thing themselves. Because they suddenly realize they can do it themselves. So when someone comes in and says something to me like, let me scroll back up, my anti-AI rant is stupid. AI can improve games with replayability and content. The ones against AI are the vocal, ignorant minority. Strignos. Here's a really weird thing that might shock you a bit. Partly I do agree with you. You know? Partly I actually think that AI can, when used correctly, add a level of replayability to a game. It can adapt to a player's playstyle. It could add in a challenge that it knows the player is going to struggle with. Kind of like how Metal Gear Solid adapts to your tactics if you keep approaching a base in the same way. Okay, there is a level of personal adaptability there that could actually be really interesting to look into. It could add content by just generating lots more that you want to go through. There actually is an argument to be made there. You're not wrong. The problem is not that you're not wrong. It's that you're insufferable to deal with. It's not that people are looking at the ideas that you're bringing and saying those are inherently bad. It's that people are looking at you and saying, I don't want to deal with you. The ones against AI are not the ignorant vocal minority. They're the people that have been spoken down to by people that are fervently pro-AI. There is actually a huge amount of benefit to what you're talking about and what you're doing. It's incredible. The problem is, you're pushing people away from dealing with you, not because AI is a system they don't want to engage with, but you are a person they don't want to engage with. And if you want to get people on your side for a system, you don't call them ignorant and stupid. And it's also true the other way around. If you want to convince people that AI both does and doesn't have a place in the industry, you don't do that by making an enemy of the person. Jeff Kaplan ending his tweet with "man up" is combative. It is immediately confrontational. And I agree that all ideologies have this. All technology has this. At some point, you do need to understand that to get people on your side for any level of progress... Oh, Mike Ibarra. Sorry, not Jeff. It's Mike Ibarra. Jeff Kaplan was the other one that did the cool interview. Mike Ibarra was the one that did the tweet, getting them confused in my mind. But whenever you've got the idea of, hey, I do or don't believe this, all right, cool. Other people are going to want to support you. That's what it is. Do you have any input on that? I'm happy to have a chat with you about that. If we start this... Yeah, apologies for getting those those two mixed up. They both got kind of wow in my head. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And if you want people to support a process that you support, it helps if those people want to support you. Because that's how you get the evangelical supporters. That's how you get your allies. Not yeah, you know what? Striknos, you are right. Alienating people is not the right way to approach it. So unfortunately, Strick, what happens is, and Strick, I don't know you, I don't know your life, I don't know your struggles, I mean, everyone is obviously up against something. I don't know what you do or don't value. But I'm guessing what's happened is, you have seen a clip of mine where I've said something negative. You've taken that to mean that I'm 100% anti-AI, which I'm not. I'm anti-AI if it's taken away work from artists. And then you've come in here with a level of conflict that you want to try and seek out. And I appreciate you still being here to talk to me. I genuinely do. But consider this. When you come in here defending use of AI, you are seen by this community as a champion of that process. Because as soon as someone says anything for or against, they become a de facto champion of that argument. Everyone's then focusing on you. If you come in here and accuse people of being stupid and ignorant, you are not only seen as being the champion of that process, you are seen as championing it by insulting others. And what you're then going to do is turn people against the process simply by the fact of how you've approached them. Do you understand that? To be honest, I'm kind of disappointed with you, Josh. I'm against artists that take away from AI. That's a good one. It's a way of looking at it. I mean, because artificial intelligence is used in the YouTube algorithm. It's used all there as well. It's everything. It's already there. To hate it is understandable, but to understand it is going to be vital. You can dislike the process while still wanting to understand it. You can dislike people that like the process while still wanting to understand them. We have had artificial intelligence ingratiated and ingrained for years into systems that we've become very familiar with. What's happening now is the generative AI, which is effectively being able to replace the process of using human creation. Taking away the boring stuff is fine. Taking away the stuff that makes us human, that kind of sucks. You should have used a more intellectual way to make your point and not an emotional one. Striknos, thank you. I appreciate that, man. But, I mean, we're all human. We all get emotional. We all get emotional with stuff. We all ultimately want to be able to connect with other people. My opinion is that it's how you're using it. Yeah, absolutely. Use it the right way, it can be fine. Use it the wrong way, it can be dangerous and damaging. It is about the connection. If AI bros wanted us to get on board about how they work, then yeah, show us what it can do. Here's an interesting one. Show us what AI can do to allow humans to spend more time creating art and less time working, instead of showing us how AI can allow us to spend more time working and create the art that we were going to create for us. That sucks. If you want to say, hey, this artificial intelligence can take a load of time away from you filing your taxes so you can go and paint a picture, that sounds fantastic. You turn around and say to me, hey, this AI will paint all the pictures you want to paint so you can spend more time filing your taxes? What? Why are you trying to get me on board with a process that is removing the things that I want to do? Use that process to take away the stuff that I don't want to do. Technology is excellent when it takes away the monotony and the boringness and the technologically difficult and the dull and the mundane, and automates that so I can, as a human, experience and explore what it means to be human. If you want to take away my experience and my exploration of humanity so I can just continue to be an even more efficient little worker bee, then I'm going to push back against it. I'm not against technological advancement. I'm against human regression. And companies seem to push AI as beneficial for human regression. Like, AI is used in the medical field all the time, which is excellent. Scanning X-rays to find stuff that human eyes might miss? Brilliant. Painting pictures so I don't need to? The process is the painting. And that's why I think AI bros are often the worst adverts for AI culture as a whole, because people don't understand that it is this incredible system that will allow us to automate so much of the dangerous and the mundane. But the fact that the most prominent use is not automation of the dangerous and the mundane, but instead ownership of the creative process, that sucks. That sucks so much. AI is a multifaceted thing, but unfortunately the champions for it are just insufferable. When we say an AI bro, we mean someone that comes to you and tells you that artificial intelligence is going to solve every problem in your life and also do all the work for you and take away the process of creativity, which sucks. I would like to be able to hope that technological advancement can be beneficial for humans. I think it will. I don't want to sit there and be ignorant of the process, but I will push back on the process if the process takes away my ability to be creative and explore. Do I believe we artificial and general intelligence in our lifetime? If so, how would that change my viewpoint? I honestly have no idea. It's not my area of expertise. I have no idea how fast the technology is advancing. I don't know if I would or wouldn't be able to have any valid input. I mean, I would have to double check that I even fully understand what that is. And I think that is artificial intelligence different to artificial general intelligence? Artificial intelligence, if I'm correct, is the ability to collate what already exists in a way that makes it make sense within context. Effectively taking writings that already exist, working out which words go next to each other, working out patterns, working out problems, and generally turning the process into almost a mathematical check of what's happened before. Whereas artificial general intelligence is the ability to create what has not existed. Right, okay. General intelligence is actually creating something brand new, an idea, a uniquely, kind of, at the minute, a uniquely human process. That is... Hey Josh, look up at the sky. That is gorgeous. This whole place is lovely. I love dungeons which are outside. Right. That's the crazy one. So right now, when we say AI, what we tend to mean is a system which collates data and a system which combines what already exists. And when we say general AI, we mean a system that can create original stuff, new things. I'm in a complicated situation where I want to use AI for creating game assets, but you don't want to do that. You can't afford an artist. Okay, so if you want to, and this is what I would say. First of all, people hate the idea of generating anything because it uses up a ton of resources. I get that. From an artistic point of view, if you are creating something, let's say a video game or a board game, and you want to put placeholder assets within that game or that project just for you, purely as an inspirational idea, then you don't necessarily need to AI generate a picture. You can just find a picture that already exists, stick it in as a placeholder asset, and then by the time you release everything, replace those. Using placeholder assets as part of the creator. I do it when I'm creating board games and card games. Like, I don't want to look at a boring blank card that just has the title of the card on it. It helps my creative juices to flow if I can look at a picture on the card that in some way represents what I'm meant to be looking at. But you don't need to generate an AI image of that. You can just use, oh, that's who she is. I see who I'm looking at now. Yeah, I'm not going to do any damage to her at all. I mean, bear in mind that using placeholder assets, you are promising that you will replace those. Josh, I disagree with you regarding creativity, okay? AI creativity is combining existing things. The only difference is how basic or complex the composition ideas are. You weren't disagreeing with me on that. That's exactly what I was saying. I was saying that creativity, AI as we have it now, is about taking what already exists and combining it in different ways. Whereas generative is taking what exists and adding something that doesn't. Oh, we said all creativity. Oh, okay, gotcha. All creativity can be about taking what exists. Ella, in that case, I mean, all creativity at some point needs a level of randomness, a level of mistake to it. And I think there was a great TED talk on this by a girl called Jess, who works in advertising, and one of her discussions is that humans are able to take mistakes that they make and find a way to make those into a creative process. I love that. I love that a lot. Yeah, so you can make a mistake, and you can find a way to make that mistake work into something. Now, is that a uniquely human trait? I would say there is definitely an element of humanity to the ability to take what does not work and make it work. But a lot of creativity can be combining things that exist together. Sometimes it's spontaneous creation of something new. Sometimes it is a brand new idea that you've never heard before. It can be any of these things. Using any tool that you have access to, or understanding why you have access to those tools, is also very important. Understanding the why and what tools can and can't do is also, I would say, vital. Art itself can have a level of pedigree to it. When you look at a picture, you're not just looking at the picture, you're looking at the history behind it as well. It's not the pedigree. There is another word for it. The history of the thing. It's the provenance. Thank you. Provenance. I completely forgot about that. It is about the provenance. So the provenance tends to be the history, the humanity, the connection, the story behind that thing. And while AI may at some point be able to produce a beautiful picture, an incredible artwork, maybe it will be able to produce something that you look at and it looks lovely. There's no doubt about that. I think that a lot of people forget that experiencing art is not always just looking at a picture. Experiencing art is sometimes understanding what that picture means, where it's been created, where the emotion has come from, where the story is being told from. And that matters. That matters quite a lot, actually. Let me just grab a little picture with this. Beautiful. Got it. Now, the Mando says art will have no value with AI. Some people will be impressed that a computer can make a picture. That itself will be the provenance of that picture. But what I think a lot of AI bros tend to forget is that the story of an artwork is not simply the finished thing. The story is everything that has led up to that finished thing. That is the provenance. That is the emotional journey. I value the provenance of a piece of artwork as the end point of a journey. As in, when you show me a piece of artwork, what I'm thinking is the person that made this had to go through a life experience or go through a journey or an adventure to be able to get here. And that to me has a huge amount of value. Now, I'm not saying that AI does not have an interesting journey behind it. Sure it will do. Flashier says copying thousands of images and slapping parts together is not really impressive. Technologically, I think it is. Like, I don't really care. I don't think the art necessarily has... The art doesn't move me, but I think on a technical point of view, what they've been able to create by gathering all that stuff and making a computer able to understand a level of composition kind of is. I don't like it. I can appreciate the technological complexity of what had to be done to get to the system that we have now. Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that I want to particularly champion or value what it is. The real problem is it will cause economic collapse in the next 2 years. How we feel about AI is irrelevant when not producing enough value compared to what was invested into it. I mean, this is going to probably sound quite reductive from me, but my main problem is not necessarily AI. It's how people that really, really want AI treat people that really don't. I think my main issue comes from the human side of it, and the fact that I just see people that are evangelical for one side or the other, treating people from the other side like shit. Like, you can be for a system and not want to treat people that are against that system as lesser, ignorant idiots. And you can be against a system and not want to treat people that are for it as, brainless morons. It's desire and emotion all the way down. I mean, you can be for it for one reason, you can be against it for another reason, but ultimately we have to decide what's going to be the most beneficial for humanity as a whole. AI is here to stay, whether we like it or not, because companies want to use it as an exploitative process. But a lot of sides are being really condescending toward the other. It's useful for data gathering. I also think I need to say something that's going to be People are going to hate it. If you're against something, if you're for something, you're not going to want to hear this. People are against something ideologically right up until the moment that thing is beneficial to them. Then they're suddenly very okay with it. Your friends who were against exploitative AI had no problem generating a Studio Ghibli image of themselves for Facebook. The normal human being, the normal person, the normal everyman is fine being against something up until that thing looks fun. Up until that thing has a benefit, up until that thing can do something that they think will be interesting for them. That's fine. People are absolutely against massive data gathering, but they still played Pokemon Go knowing that all the images were being used for mass data gathering. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they finally actually explained it. The images taken from Pokemon Go, the pictures that you were taking on your phones and the films that you were doing to catch the Pokemon and all the individual opening of the camera has been used to create one of the largest networks of physical images to guide delivery robots ever made. That's now been revealed. Pokemon Go was one of the largest data gathering operations in history, and it has been used to effectively train and feed a network that is going to be used for delivery. Go and Google it right now. Go and have a check. It was free work, and a lot of that stuff has been going to an agency that has been supported by a hell of a lot of stuff from various countries. Was it planned or did it get sold afterwards? It was planned from the start. The idea was originally Niantic had a different app called... What was the app that they made before? Niantic made an app before Pokemon Go, and that was called Ingress. Was it Ingress? Ingress, that was the one. And they gathered a huge amount of data with that, but it wasn't popular enough. So then they worked with Pokemon to create an incredible, massive fun game, and then they used all the images and data that was created to train something else. So everyone hates data gathering right up until it's fun to have your data gathered. And the same people that will have copy-pasted on Facebook the "I do not give Facebook permission to use any of my pictures" paragraphs, because those people are just dumb, will be the same people that have no problem playing Farmville or Pokemon Go or all that kind of stuff. They're gamified work. And now here's the thing. I'm not saying that you're wrong for playing Pokemon Go. I play Pokemon Go. It's great fun. I'm saying that if you're going to be against something on principle, you have to understand that you must continue to be against it even when it's fun. One of the horrible things that I think you will learn constantly is that if you want to be against something on principle, you're going to be against a lot of the stuff that you just enjoy doing in life. If you want to be convicted against things that you don't agree with, that's fine. And I will fight for your right to be against that if you want to. And this was the point I was making a few minutes ago. Most people that you meet will be against something if it's bad, up until the point where that something is beneficial to them. Then they'll be for it. Everyone can be a hypocrite. And what's really important is this. It is possible to have principles and to be principled, and not following them to 100% doesn't make you an awful person. Like, you can want to improve things, and you can act in small ways that improve things, but just because you don't act in every possible way that could in any way improve something does not mean that you are an awful person. Like, you can do small stuff that's beneficial without doing everything ever that could be beneficial. And what I hate is this constant purity test of, if you aren't doing everything, you may as well be doing nothing. Because that is stupid. That takes away the entire point of the human condition. That takes away the reality of life. It takes away the actual things that you're going to have to deal with. Going to the gym for 20 minutes a day is better than not going. If someone says to you, look, you either go for 8 hours a day or you don't go, you would understand how stupid and how irresponsible that would be. Sometimes doing something small is better than 100%ing something. You can want to fix the environment and own a smartphone, while understanding that the process of owning a smartphone is itself contributing to the damage of the environment. You can want to end exploitation and slavery while also buying clothes from Primark, who deal in exploitation and slavery. And people who mock you and say, oh, you want to do that, and yet you engage with parts of the system that do that, they don't want to actually help. They want to win against you. They want you to feel bad for not being as pure as they are. Any type of exercise is better than no type of exercise. Any type of education is better than no type of education. And any type of, pushback or support is better than no support. Exactly. People come over to me and they say, Josh, you say that you want to support these things, and yet you do this, which is connected to this, which doesn't support them. Everything is connected to everything ultimately, but doing small things that have benefit is not a bad idea. And it drains me. And I think, and this might sound condescending, if you're an adult, I think it drains you too. Have you guys ever spoken to someone who just feels like they're constantly judging you for not being as good as they are? Not being holier than thou? They're looking down their nose at you because you've said you want to do something, but oh ho ho, they do something which is a little bit better than the way you do it. And you know what? At that point, you're like, well, I was going to agree with the principle, but now I just hate you as a person. I mean, this whole thing loops back to generally wanting to be supportive. If you want someone to go against your entire movement, mock them for not doing the entire movement. If you want someone to push back against everything you stand in, make them feel bad for not doing the small things that you think are important. If you want someone to slowly come onto your side and support what you are doing, praise them for the small things that they do. Because you know what? Someone being 10% with you is better than them being 100% against you. Activism and being on top of issues is something you cannot avoid. Even with professional help, trying to be a hero and save the world, it's that important to you. You won't save the world. You cannot save the world. You can become part of a process or a system or a group of people that do. But ultimately, a lot of saving the world is about getting people on board. Most people don't want to win allies, they want to make themselves feel good and feed their own ego. I agree. And I've been guilty of that as well. We've all felt the pull of, I could get this person on my side, but that feels like I'm taking an ego loss. That feels like I'm, prostrating myself on the altar of life. It feels like I've got to embarrass myself, like I've lost this argument. I know it's beneficial in the long run, but my ego doesn't want me to do it. And therefore you get people that are never willing to admit they're wrong, even if that would be beneficial in the long run. And therein lies the human condition. I think we all have to at some point contend with the fact that we are not as selfless and as perfect as we would like to think. And I think one of the irritating things about me of dealing with any level of ideology is if someone comes up to me with a certain ideology and they say, hey, I think this, and I go, hey, I agree with you. Then they'll say, hey, I think this, and I'm like, I agree with that too. Then they'll say, hey, I think this, and I'll be like, I disagree with that. And then they'll be like, oh, so you hate me. You hate me and disagree with everything and you're now the enemy. I'm like, no. I actually agree with more than I disagree. But if my options are agree with everything you ever think and say, or be your enemy, I'm not going to agree with everything you ever think and say. And from what I've found, the people that are the most polite and interesting to be around are those who understand that I'm not going to agree with everything you do 100%. Not even talking about politics at this point, just talking about general kind of human interaction and connection. This is why I tended to push back from activism at university, because I had friends that would invite me to activism groups, and those groups always ended up in infighting and purity tests that shrunk into smaller and smaller focused in-groups of people who just proved they were more and more pious than thou. And honestly, at that point, it was just bloody exhausting. Everyone thinks they're an above-average driver. Everyone thinks they're better than somebody else. That's just groups in general. Yeah, it is. Groups in general are like, well, now I'm going to say this because this proves that I'm better than you. Thou can be you. Yes,